Before you say, Jeff, it's March, how can college football be a topic? My answer is going to be because it is. Not the football part, really, but it is. Two things to keep in mind. Two terms, two ways of looking at things. One, earning potential. All right, keep that in mind. Two, having no excuses, virtually no excuses, versus coaches that have legitimate excuses. And that's hard for me to say, but when you hear what's going on, you just might say some of them have legitimate excuses. College football coaches typically don't deserve excuses. They do, trust me, I rant about it all the time. They do plenty of crazy things. I think crazy. I don't know why many of you think what they're doing is normal, but I think they do plenty of crazy things in games. They go for 2 points far too often. The crazy new trend of going for it on fourth down is, I think, insanity. Going backwards even. Think about this one. This would be really nuts. Going backwards twice in 2 consecutive downs from your opponent's 1 yard line. That'd be really nutty. So there's plenty of stupid examples. But some of them, even the rich ones, some of them deserve an excuse. And that is, they don't have the money. They're getting blamed, and they don't have the money. Every day, gosh, it probably could happen every single day, every single phone call. Almost every call, or it could be every single call to the Paul Feinbaum show, you can hear people ranting, even though it's not always easy to understand. But you can hear them ranting about Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. I mean, it is nonstop. And some of it makes some sense, but they are just all day, every day, all year ranting about the head coach at Alabama. He sucks. Give him one more year and that's it. Nick Saban, of course, you would hear this constantly. Nick Saban would never let this happen. He's awful, blah, 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 right? All day, every day, all year round. He's the worst ever, according to a lot of people. Nick Saban put together the greatest run the sport has ever seen. He put together a talent base year after year the sport has never seen. He also got out. He got out after losing to Michigan in a semifinal. That was a season just like this past season when an SEC team didn't play for the championship. Kalen DeBoer did. He's the head coach at Alabama. He did play for a championship at Washington the very same month Nick Saban quit. But he quickly left Washington and took the Alabama job, and they're eating him alive. So Nick Saban gets out. We all know that. And then he gets out, I would argue, although he doesn't say it exactly, but he gets out for the very thing that Kalen DeBoer is having to live through. It's a money game, and Alabama can't keep up. Remember the terms. I mentioned this earlier, earning potential and excuses. Kalen DeBoer has an excuse. Nobody wants to give him an excuse. No one's going to, because the backdrop is Nick Saban, and nobody ever wants to go there, but honestly, he has an excuse. Ryan Day at Ohio State has no excuse. Lincoln Riley at USC has no excuse. Dan Lanning at Oregon has no excuse. Mike Elko at A&M has no excuse. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame and James Franklin at Penn State mostly don't have excuses. And Steve Sarkisian at Texas, he really has no excuses. All these coaches have no excuses for not only making the playoff every single year, but going deep into the playoffs. I'm not saying you have to win a championship every year. Stuff does happen. But they have such a built-in advantage. I mean, it is huge. There's no reason for them to not be in the playoff every year and getting a chance and swinging at a championship on a pretty regular basis. So none of those guys have excuses. They have the place where there's the highest earning potential. In other words, they pay their players, somebody pays their players, and can offer free agents more than anyone else. It's like the difference between your earning potential in Waco versus your earning potential in Austin. It's like the earning potential in pick a place in Alabama versus your earning potential in Los Angeles. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's the reality. And now data is backing that up. And the fact of the matter is, Kalen DeBoer deserves the excuses. He's got a built-in excuse. He might have the biggest excuse of all. No earning potential for the players. What's ridiculous is that he gets blamed every day, all year round for Alabama not being able to keep up. But he has an excuse. Stick any coach at Alabama. I mean, it's not like the guy can't coach. Just the year before, he took Washington to the championship game. He can't coach at all? Really? What, he just fell apart? Really? You think that's the way it is? You just happen to think the most lucrative programs in the sport by far are now playing for the championship pretty regularly? You think that's just a coincidence? You could stick any coach, and I bet you it looks the same. It's mostly not his fault. Here's why I bring it up. All right, this is from essentiallysports.com. Tuscaloosa reporter issues dire warning for Kalen DeBoer as $2.7 million blunder puts Alabama to the test. I thought, oh my gosh, they lost $2.7 million somewhere, like they dropped it in petty cash, or the guy stealing from the athletic program. What does it mean, a $3 million blunder? What did the coach do with the money? That's not at all what's going on. It makes some sense. Just keep in mind, some coaches actually do have built-in excuses now. Alabama Crimson Tide doesn't do rebuilding years. That's the unspoken rule of Tuscaloosa, it's reported, where every season is a playoff or bust affair. Kalen DeBoer walked into that expectation the moment he took over, and after a 9-4 season featuring a humiliating 24-3 loss to Oklahoma. And by the way, everything I'm saying about Alabama and everything about what the data is now saying about Alabama, you can just say the same thing about Oklahoma. There's not any earning potential. I don't know about any. Not as much. Not enough to be ultra elite anymore. Do I think Brent Venables is a very good coach? Probably not. But it really doesn't matter. It's just about money. He might be. I don't know. It's hard to say. But Oklahoma can't and won't be what it was. It won't be. It can't be ultra elite blue blood because it doesn't offer the earning potential. That's the way it goes. I got yelled at for saying this 2 years ago. All right, the story goes like this. They had a 24-3 loss to Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. Had a loss against Vanderbilt. The talk at Alabama isn't about patience. It's about whether DeBoer can keep the machine running at the level Nick Saban built. Cracks in the foundation are forming. Yeah. I remember saying on a podcast, the blue blood Southern programs are going to start slipping, and the slip will happen pretty quickly because you don't offer earning potential. It's not there. And you don't really have access to it. It says, those cracks, they go beyond the field, straight to the trenches of college football's new world, name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal. I call it sugar daddy money and free agency. It's the same thing. It's just handouts, and then free agency. So here we go. Alabama's name, image, and likeness situation is far from elite. A program used to dominate recruiting now finds itself ranked 67th in NIL valuation, with a staggering $2.7 million drop in adjusted value. Now, listen, I'm going to stop there. I have no idea who compiles that. I have no idea because I assume there's no record keeping, but it's probably not far off. There's not enough earning potential. Now, you're going to say, but Jeff, I mean, yeah, $5 million in Austin is far different than $5 million in Waco. All right, well, if you were 17 years old, you don't think in those terms. I mean, Austin offers an NFL lifestyle with NFL money, whereas most places don't. There you go. Deal done. How hard is that to recruit? You'd take it. I'd take it. in a heartbeat. That's exactly what's happening. So this number about, why they're 67th or 70th or, whatever, whoever's compiling this, I can't promise you it's exact. I have no idea how they quantify the money that's being handed out to players. But the fact is that somebody's now putting a number to what I've said for a while, and that is you don't have a chance. Now, it's all relative, right? I mean, if you're a bad program, if you're a poor, bad program before, and you don't have access to capital, you can't provide earning potential, yeah, you're going to stay down there. And then if you're mid-level, you can probably sort of stay there. And if you were elite like Alabama, you're just going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping, like Oklahoma. And practically every other school not named Texas or A&M in the South. It's just set up that way now, and it's plainly obvious. And yeah, I'm saying that's why Kalen DeBoer doesn't deserve to be piled on. He just doesn't. I might even say the same thing at this point about Brent Venables. They're in a money game they can't compete. They can't. And this data says it. They're 67th in valuation. You're going to say, well, Jeff, that's crazy. They bring in money. Yeah, they do. They have a lot of, they sell tickets. They have a huge media deal. But that's not what this is all about anymore. It's not. That money is sucked up probably by the bureaucrats that work there, probably by the coaching staff that works there. What kind of earning potential does a 19-year-old player have at fill-in-the-blank school? What about a free agent? Can they offer him the money in a free agent market, which is what this is now? Can they offer what Ohio State, Texas, A&M, Oregon, SMU, USC, these schools that have hangers-on with a bunch of cash? The word of the day is yes. Words, earning potential, and excuses. Kalen DeBoer gets an excuse. Brent Venables gets an excuse. Steve Sarkisian and Mike Elko get no excuses. That's the marketplace now. And I don't know, I guess fans aren't going to understand that and don't want to understand that. I think Saban did. I think Nick Saban knew the slip was going to start happening and happening pretty quickly. Kalen DeBoer jumped at the job because it's a legendary program. Probably never once thinking, oh man, we're 70th in earning potential. Yeah, well, reality is they're 70th in earning potential.
Hey Austin, Jeff Ward here, and I never thought I'd be in an accident and need a personal injury attorney. And then sure enough, less than a mile from my house, I was blindsided. I was injured. My world was turned completely upside down. I called DJC Law and their team took care of everything. I got the best result possible. Don't just take my word for it. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews. So if you're injured, call 512-888-9999 and get your justice at teamjustice.com.